The honor that a man of God should have. Welcome back to another video. And today's topic is a man of honor. And not only a man of honor in the world, but a man of honor in God. And there's a very big difference. You know, a man of the world that carries honor, he is bound down to the world by his own structure, by his own principles. And these principles may not be bad, but these are principles that he builds for his own. These are principles that he decides to put in his life. Principles that, although carry weight, they're not the principles that God may call us to. The structure that God has over a man is a structure that is very hard to follow. And when he decides to follow these principles and fall into the structure that he is called to, God blesses him and God favors that man who decides to do that. There's many things that the Bible explains on how a man of honor should be, and I'd like to go through them today because I know there's a lot of things that I lack, and I know there's a lot of men out there that are trying to follow God. And I'm pretty sure we all want to feel honorable in God. We all want to feel that honor that we owe to him, and we want to feel like he honors us as well because we're doing well for him. So, as we all know, an honorable person is not something that falls only in discipline and determination, but it's something that falls in many attributes, such as being kind, being noble, being worthy of that behavior. And it's not a position. Many things of the world, how it shows it, we we're so used to giving honor to status. We're so used to giving honor to people who hold a certain status in the world, to artists or musicians, actors, whatever. All these ways that the world try to pin us down into giving honor to these people is only because of the position that they hold, but not of the people that they are. And honor doesn't come from what you have, but who you are, the value that you have in yourself. When you start following the structure that God has, and that structure is fearing the Lord, to have fear in the things that you're not, you are not the highest position that you can be. That everything that you are and everything that you carry is because God is willing to give it to you, and not because you obtained it. You are not the person that you are right now because only you worked hard. No, God decided to put you in that position, and that's why you hold the position that you do. But it's like in all things, when somebody works hard enough to try to get to a position, you work hard to get it. You are honorable enough to have disciplined yourself, to have valued yourself, to not be distracted, to not fall into the world, to not do certain things and separate yourself from the people that you knew will hold you back to obtain the position that you are. So in a way, yes, obviously you had to change yourself to obtain that position. You had to change something about yourself. But the honor that God calls us to is following his law, which the first one is to have fear in the Lord. To have fear that anything that you can achieve and anything that you can have is not because of you, but because of him. Now, the second example would be in Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. And it says, "On your father and mother, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you." That is a commandment. That is in the commandments that God gave to Moses. If you don't honor your father and mother, then who are you? You must honor them, even though we didn't all grow up in maybe a healthy household. We didn't all grow up with our parents, but yet again, the same way that God and Jesus forgave you, you must forgive them. You have to have that same compassion that God has for you, to be an honorable man, to not carry such resentment, but understand that certain situation or such situations turn you into who you are today. Because there's a lot of pain in the world that can go, and pain can lead to honor. These things that life can throw at you lead you to honor, but it also depends on how you see it. It all depends on how you decide to face life. If you decide to face it in an unfortunate situation and just saying, well, dang, I went through this and I went through that, I'm gonna just sit down and just this is who I am now. I decide to just, you know, not appreciate everything that God has given me and hold resentment towards people that hurt me. That is obviously gonna hurt you more than you hurting anybody else. You're not supposed to, you know, put yourself down because of situations like that. Situations, unfortunate situations, build you up. You must face pain in order to lead that can lead you to honor. Pain leads a man to honor. When back in the days when knights and Vikings and samurai would go to war, those were people of honor, people of structure. And obviously we're kind of leading away here from the message of God, but these are people that went to war. These are people that would build discipline and structures and principles that were highly needed in order to face certain things, and they had to face pain. But those were people that were honorable. In the same way that those people build that structure through pain, you must build that structure through the pain that God is trying to put you through. It is refinement. It is refinement so you can be an honorable man of God. So first off, you must push away all type of resentment, all type of pain that you may hold that the world has put you through, because it's not meant to hurt you. It's only meant to shape you. And you see, I've said this before. We hold the standard of honor to what a person has and not who he is. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Nowadays, we think it's honorable for an artist to be an artist the way that he is. For an actor, we hold him in such high esteem just because he is that actor and he holds that position. But that's not what God called us to. Because an honorable man is not by what he has. He's not bound by what he has, but who he is. You know, if that man was to lose everything, who does he turn into? An honorable man, he loses all materialistic things, and he still is bounded and is structured by the structure that God holds him to, and he follows his principles. He gains it all back, and even more. For example, Job. That is an honorable man that no matter everything, God took everything from him, and he stayed honorable to God. He stayed structured. He stood in the principle that God showed him already, and God gave him everything back. So you can dream and you can desire all these things that the world has for you and will have for you. Yeah, it is great to have big dreams and have big goals and want to achieve all these materialistic things, but that's not gonna make you great. Being bounded by materialistic things is not what makes you great. It is the man that you become in order to have those things. Because there's differences to that, and we all know that. There's people that achieve all materialistic solutions and all materialistic desires through other ways that are not rightfully seen by God. But when you follow the laws that God has put into this world and the principles that he wants us to follow, then do you know that no matter what you lose, you're still the same. No matter what you lose, you still hold that same pride. And it's not pride, it's honor, but that same value in yourself. To know that you will still stand with God no matter what you face. Like a true warrior. Facing through war. Going through any obstacle that he has to overcome. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I face today or tomorrow. I will stand bounded to God. I will stand bounded to Jesus. Because that is who nurtures my soul, who pushes me forward. For if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the position that I am today. That's how it matters. That's what it matters. And many people today that are bounded by materialistic things and think they hold honor, the moment that they lose that, they lose their sense of purpose. They lose their sense of who they are. They don't know who they are because they found personality and they found characteristics in the materialistic things that they have. And as soon as they lose everything, they lose themselves. Maybe we still think, we from the outside, we still hold these people to high esteem. But that's not the case. For what a man could be if he loses his soul for the world. There's a lot of things that go around in the Bible. The Bible speaks on everything. The Bible speaks on everything that a man has to be. And what can a man wait for if he doesn't decide to follow the laws of God? And the way that we hold honor for God is denying our flesh, is nailing ourselves to the cross, nailing our flesh to the cross. Because that is how we know that you must know, as a man of God and trying to get closer to God, you owe it to him. You owe it to God to turn into the best version of yourself that you can be. You owe it to him to not be distracted by the world, what the world can throw at you, to not be distracted by the lust, to not be distracted by your emotions. You must perform no matter what, because God gave you the opportunity to wake up again, to be the man that he called you to be. Many people like to say you owe it to yourself for everything that you face. No, you owe it to God. You don't deserve anything. Nothing in this world is yours. Anything that you have is because God decided to give it to you. You are bounded to this world, and that is your fault. Now, if you decide to follow God, you turn into an honorable man. A man that is held by structures and principles that nobody can understand. Because going back to the first thing I said at the beginning of the video, a disciplined man of the world, his structure and his principles may be hard to bear, but those are principles that can change with time, because there's no higher power holding you down to them. There's only yourself. So those principles and those things that you hold yourself to are only as strong as your will. As soon as your will weakens, your principles weaken. When you decide to follow the structure and the principles of God, those are principles that are unbreakable. They're things that are unbreakable because there's a higher power than yourself. It's something that you don't understand. You're holding yourself accountable to a higher power. And when you decide to follow the laws that God has for you, you turn into a true honorable man. There's a lot of revelation that God brings upon our soul and our spirit when we decide to follow him. And I would like to read the book of Revelation, chapter 5, verse 12. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. Now, these things are not only given to him because he decided to sacrifice himself, right, for the saving of all of us. But it is very important to notice how these things are also given to us when we decide to sacrifice our flesh for him. God doesn't give you your blessings until you decide to follow him correctly. God doesn't see honor in you until you decide to follow him correctly. You don't receive the power of the Holy Spirit until you decide to follow him correctly. God doesn't give you the strength to face your fears and to face sin until you follow him correctly. You sacrifice your flesh the same way that Jesus sacrificed himself. That is when you turn into a man of honor. Same way that it's said in Revelation, same way that Jesus did. Jesus holds honor not because what people saw him to be, but because who he was. Because many of people seen him different. There were many opinions that people had on Jesus. Many of them, they hold him to high esteem. Others wanted him to be a king. Obviously, he wasn't called to that, right? He knew deep within him who he was and who he was meant to please. And he was there to please the Heavenly Father. He was there to do his bidding. He was there to do his will, the will of God, right? But there was many opinions to what people had of him, but it was who he was. And he knew who he was. He was the Son of God, and he came down into earth to die for everybody's sins. But it is very important to take this into consideration, that the same way that he was worthy, we're also worthy in the eyes of God. We're also worthy of love. We are worthy of mercy. We are worthy to walk into the purpose that he has for us with honor. When we obviously decide to take that decision upon ourselves to do it. And like I said again, it's not because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to God. You owe it to God to turn into the best man that he called you to be. The best man that you can be for him. It's time to stop following trends. It's time to stop following what the world has for you. It's time to stop following into distractions. To say that you're going to do something today and then go and take a break. Watching things that just filter your mind to another extreme mindset that you must not carry. And you know that. You know that the structure of God is different. God didn't preach to the world, didn't preach to the people of his land, and then, you know what? I'm gonna just go take a break now. I gotta chill and keep my mind off of things. It doesn't work like that. When you're called to follow the structure that God put you on, you're in a constant battle. You're in a constant battle. Just like the men of honor, just like the knights, the Vikings, the samurai. When they out there in the trenches, they weren't, oh, let me just take a break. I'm pretty sure everybody was on guard because they know they're in the battlefield. Same way like you. You in the battlefield right now. There's no time for you just to let me just take a break. I'm gonna be on purpose for 2 hours and I'm gonna just take a 30-minute break and just scroll on my phone and put nonsense in my brain. The more purposeful you can be, the better. The best version of yourself that God called you to, well, you're honoring him and he will honor you. When you walk in purpose and you decide to put everything away that the world can have for you, you're honoring him. You're moving with purpose because you know you owe it to him. And he shall help you. He will help you. It won't be luck. It's not something called luck. Because it is said in the Bible that God favors the man who fears him. He favors him who decides to walk by him. So the more that you're disciplined and determined to follow God, the more that he will favor you in your walk. I hope y'all like this video. I hope y'all could take some wisdom from it. I know I get passionate about this. I can't lie. It's a very serious topic for me because it is something that I had to understand over time, and God revealed it to me. So I wanted to share it with more people, more men that try to understand how to follow God. So I hope y'all can take some knowledge from this. And as always, God bless you.